All right. Hey, folks. Sherman Ray. This is the Livin in Vegas podcast where we talk to you about the people, the places, the trends, the events that shape the city of Las Vegas. And, folks, let me do this a little bit. There we go. We'll adjust camera angle just a little bit. I'm your host, folks, Sherman Ray, and thank you so much for being a part of the show today. We come to you Monday, Wednesdays, and Fridays, talk to you about all kinds of the cool things that are going on in Vegas. We're gonna today's show. We're gonna do a recap on what happened this weekend because there was tons of stuff that happened this weekend, and my camera's still there. We go. Let's see if we can make that a little bit better. Tons of stuff happened, and as you can see, I'm wearing my T-shirt already because it is cold in Vegas. We went from summer to kind of like a fall time, and then winter. So we're winter time already here in Vegas. It's amazing. Anyways, I want to welcome all my friends here from Facebook, and you're watching us, and I think you're watching us live on YouTube, which is cool. Looks like we have 2 more days of being live on YouTube. And then I think we'll probably go back to live on Facebook just because I've got some things I want to tell those folks. And it's our ongoing saga, folks. Just an ongoing saga with Facebook. So I'll tell you a little bit more about that later in the show. But I want to thank all our friends who are watching us on YouTube. You've just been the best. You really have. It's just been really fun to be a part of your life, and we're gaining more and more people on YouTube. And you never know, we might just decide to just stay live on YouTube from now on and not ever go back live on Facebook. But who knows? We'll try. We'll see how it works out. Let's do this. There's a ton of stuff to talk about that happened this weekend. We want to do a real full recap on some of the cool things that have gone on, and we want to look forward to what's going on in this week. So there's a lot of stuff going on this week too. So let's do this. Let's pay some bills first, I guess, and then we'll be back with our show. Okay. So anyways, this is Sherman Ray. This is the Livin in Vegas podcast. Thank you so much, folks. We'll be back in a second. Okay. Hi everybody, it's Sherman Ray for Livin in Vegas podcast. Are you a business owner that's looking to get the word out about his product, service, or even just a great message out there? Well, we'd like to give you that opportunity by being a guest on Livin in Vegas podcast. It's super simple. All you've got to do is contact us at advertising@livininvegas.com. That's advertising@livininvegas.com, and we'll schedule you for an interview on Livin in Vegas podcast. I'm Sherman Ray for Livin in Vegas podcast, where we talk about the people, the places, the trends, and the events that shape the city of Las Vegas. We'll talk to you soon. Bye-bye. Okay, so folks, it's early voting here in Las Vegas, in the state of Nevada, and just like the rest of the country, we are embroiled. We are just knee deep in trying to figure out who's going to be our next elected officials, and we traditionally here at Livin in Vegas, we traditionally try to stay out of politics, but this is one of those times where we have to basically weigh in to talk about what's going on, the people that are going on, and we're not here to tell you who to vote for, folks. We really aren't, or how to vote, but we are here to inform you on what the issues are, that kind of stuff, and how they could affect everybody, because there's definitely some issues that could affect you. And sorry, I've got cords that are just like all over the place. It's really messy. So there are definitely any number of issues that could affect you, and so we'll talk about that a little bit. But so let's talk about what happened over the weekend first, okay? So let's talk about sports, because that's really kind of the big thing right now. The Raiders played this weekend, folks. Very excited to find out that the Raiders actually won. Yay! I know. We beat the Houston Texans this weekend. I think we beat them pretty good, too. Yeah, 38-20, which is great. Josh Jacobs, who's our running back, got gosh, how many yards did he run for? Like 500 or something like that. I mean, it was just he went on a tear this weekend, and doesn't say exactly how many. He went over 100 yards though, definitely, and so excited about that. The Raiders are back on their winning ways, and so we're very excited about that. Looking forward to their next game. Excuse me. So Josh, I guess, has been averaging 174 yards total scrimmage yards. What? That's pretty crazy. Yeah, he's doing some crazy things here, so we're very excited about him. Derek Carr, I think I think he had mid 200s in his in the number of yards he passed for. Doesn't really have, even on the Raiders website, which I'm looking at right now, doesn't really have a really good scheme on how much you actually did. Yeah. So, but I stayed up late yesterday. So Josh had over 140 yards. I know for sure. Okay, 143. So he had 143 yards, and he surpassed Marcus Allen for the most rushing yards in franchise history, which is great. And in a player's first 50 games, so very cool. So he did a great job. I'm looking really forward to what he's going to do in the future. So let's keep our fingers crossed that this starts a winning ways. As a matter of fact, I watched a movie this weekend. Many of you probably heard of it. It's called Moneyball. And Moneyball was a story about the Oakland A's and how they use statistics to become a championship ball team. They didn't ultimately win the championship, but they did statistically put together a team that statistically was able to win some games. And so we are still looking at statistically that the Raiders could come back and qualify for a champion, or at least a divisional crown. Okay, we don't know if they're good enough to win the NFL, what do they call it, the Super Bowl. But, who knows? So we'll find out. That'll be good. Also, in other news, folks, the Rebels. Oh, gosh, just a heartbreaker. So I've got some really good friends on the Rebels who travel with the Rebels. As a matter of fact, Russ Langer, who is the commentator, he's the voice of the UNLV Rebels, and he does the play-by-play, that kind of stuff. Went to the game this weekend. He was posting stuff like that. We played against Notre Dame this weekend, and it was not a pretty thing. No, 44-21. Yeah, we got beaten. And really the difference in the game was the first quarter. The first quarter was pretty much the difference. It was 23-7 by the end of the first quarter. And but I think the caliber of players that we play against really help us. Win, lose, or draw, the better players we play against, the better off our team is going to be. And so UNLV's been doing awesome this year. So we're 4-4 overall. We're 2-2 in our conference, and Notre Dame's 4-3. So it's not like they're blazing a trail. They're only one game. They've only won one game more than us. Actually, they've only lost one game less than us. So I think we're doing fine. So we'll find out what happened on this. We're missing multiple key players due to injury, including our quarterback and running back. So it's like we could have been a contender. Could have been a contender. So thank you, UNLV. We will always root for you. We'll continue to root for you. And so I want to make a complaint now. I'm going to do a complaint here really quick before we get to matters of voting, that kind of stuff. I'm a Dallas Cowboy fan, including as a. Well, no, let's not do that yet. Let's go to the VGK before I do my Dallas Cowboy rant. So we beat the Avalanche this weekend too, 3-2. So, we lost to the Avalanche this weekend. So upset, 3-2. It happens. We lose a game every once in a while, and we've lost 2 games now. We've won 4. We've lost 2. Colorado has only won 3. They've lost 2, and they tied 1. So we're doing good, and so we'll continue to get better and better and better. I'm very excited. I'm bullish on the Vegas Golden Knights. I've been predicting this, folks. I'm going to go ahead and go out on a limb, and I'm going to say that the Vegas Golden Knights are going to win the Stanley Cup this year. I said it. Okay. I said it. I said it. They're going to win the Stanley Cup this year. You can put it down in big lights that we're going to win. So I'm very excited about what's going to happen with the Vegas Golden Knights. So keep that in mind that you heard it here first, folks. Okay. All right. So I think that's really all the sports we had this weekend. I don't think we had much more sports. So, but let's do this again. We're going to pay one more bill, folks, and then we're going to come back and we're going to talk about some local politics, because you have to talk about politics. Early voting's right now. A lot of things are on the line, so we'll talk about that. We'll be back in a second, folks. Hi, everybody. It's Sherman Ray for Livin in Vegas podcast. Are you a business owner that's looking to get the word out about his product, service, or even just a great message out there? Well, we'd like to give you that opportunity by being a guest on Livin in Vegas podcast. It's super simple. All you've got to do is contact us at advertising@livininvegas.com. That's advertising@livininvegas.com, and we'll schedule you for an interview on Livin in Vegas podcast. I'm Sherman Ray for Livin in Vegas podcast, where we talk about the people, the places, the trends, and the events that shape the city of Las Vegas. We'll talk to you soon. Bye-bye. All right. Hey, and folks, we're back. This is Sherman Ray. This is the Livin in Vegas podcast. We come to you Monday, Wednesdays, and Fridays to tell you about people, places, trends, events, shape the city of Las Vegas. When you think about living in Vegas, folks, think living local and the return of cool. Even with a t-shirt on, I'm feeling pretty cool. And it's actually cold. So the weather's changed here in Vegas. We went from 90, 100 degrees to, I think this morning it was 53 degrees when I went riding. I know. So I went riding my bike this morning, and yes, it was crap cold this morning. Because when you're riding a bike, and I ride uphill for half the ride, and then I have to ride downhill coming back. And at 53 degrees, it gets down to about 30 really quick. So, excuse me, it was probably freezing by the time I came back. I was actually cold to the bone. I'm feeling much better right now. But I probably will not. You'll probably see me wearing a t-shirt. I'll probably button it up so you don't see a t-shirt. I will be wearing a t-shirt for the next 6 months because it's going to be cold. And I don't like being cold. I'm a Jamaican. So we Jamaicans are not big on being cold. So let's talk about the elections. It's early voting right now. And what is at stake, folks, is the control of one of our houses of Congress. Right now in the Las Vegas or the Nevada legislature, Democrats are in control of both houses of Congress plus the governor's mansion. They pretty much have a lock on the school board. They control the county commission, and they control pretty much the city of Las Vegas city council. So everything that you see, the high prices, the bad education, potholes, all that other stuff, are as a result of Democrat policies. This is kind of the way it is. And so right now there are still some elections that are going on. The early voting has begun in the state of Nevada, which is really interesting that people are getting out there and voting already. And so we just want to encourage you to exercise your right to vote. And you cannot complain about the way things are in the state if you don't go out and vote. It's just the way it is. Don't complain that you have potholes and that gas prices are so high if you are not voting. Okay. Speaking about that, there was a local official. Oh my gosh, this is crazy. She couldn't have asked for anything worse. Pat Spearman. She's a state senator, so she's not a federal. She's not a federal senator. She's a state senator. So she's one of our state senators for our state of Nevada. And her son, accused in a shooting, his name is Naochi Osborne. He shot his cousin, I believe. He's 21, and he's accused of shooting his cousin, basically, 6:43 on Thursday at the residence at the 4100 block of Ehrenberg, or Bird. And so police said that they saw a male victim believed to be in his 40s who was apparently shot by gunshot. Victim was transported to UMC and he's in stable condition. There's another article that says it's his cousin. So Pat Spearman, you couldn't ask for anything worse to happen to her. She's running for mayor of North Las Vegas. And she called a press conference and said, hey, oh gosh, and so she's running against the top vote getter so far, and the top vote getter is I forgot her name now. Pamela Goings. So Pam and Pat are the top two vote getters, and they're going to the election, the general election, November. So that's kind of that's where they're at now. It's kind of a crazy thing that's going on. Okay, so poor Pat. I feel bad for her. Because you know what? She's worked hard on this, and then her kids get in a fight. So, which tells you North Vegas got some issues. Okay. So anyways, there are early voting going on here in the state of Nevada, as we mentioned. It will go on, I think, to the 4th of November. So we encourage you folks, get out there right now. So it started on the 22nd, which was 2 days ago. It'll go through the 4th. There's pop-up sites all over the place. So as a matter of fact, we are going to be putting out a voter guide for another organization that we run, and we won't mention it here because this is not the place nor the time to do it, but we do put out a voter guide. If you would like to get our voter guide, you can actually write to us at info@livininvegas.com. It's info@livininvegas.com. We'll put that out to you, so don't worry about it. Okay, what else is going on? Oh, this was a good one. It's always cool. We're such a diverse locale here. The Black Rodeo USA is saddling up in Las Vegas, showcasing African American cowboys. And people are going, huh? African American cowboys? If you know your history, folks. Most of the cowboys were either black or Hispanic early on. Okay, and then the white guys came in, and they became the predominant fixtures in. But most of the cowboys were black Hispanic guys that were out in the West. So that's kind of the way it was. And your championship bull rider for a couple of years as a black guy was actually he'd been doing it for a long time. So whether it's bull riding or calf flipping or cowboying, takes special skills. This I'm reading from Rachel Moore's article that she wrote for Channel 13 she did. So we've got a bunch of bull riders are going to be at Horseman's Park, October, which they're almost done, I would assume. It's probably going to be pretty much done. What's the dates on this? Okay, through the 1860s. And see, this is what I said too. So the girl puts, or the reporter, I should say, puts you in terms of what percentage of cowboys were black early on in the early days of America. Through the 1860s, historians estimated that 25% of all cowboys were black, were African Americans, and even the cavalry that was helping the settlers come out to the West, California, Nevada, that most of those guys were all black. So, because the white guys didn't want to go out to Indian country. They were going, no, send the black guys out there. Forget that. So the guys who ran your telephone lines, protected the stagecoaches, escorted the settlers out west were generally black guys. They were that a white officer that was probably over them, but most of them were black. So I've read a lot of history on this stuff. So it is not unusual to see a lot of black cowboys still to this day. There's still a lot of people out there. Many who had great grandparents and grandparents have continued to follow the Black Cowboys in as they continue just to do things like you would normally see in the NFR or that kind of stuff. So they didn't say when that this was, because I think this was actually earlier. I know I'm reading the history on this. I wanted to see what the date of this was. So it was at Horseman's Park, but they didn't say what the date on this was. So I'll have to look this up and find out when this Black Bull Riders thing was, because this article is just from yesterday. So I would assume that it's still going to go on. Maybe it's in a couple of days. Anyways, so make a real special announcement, folks, that Wednesday of this week, I will be over at the Whitney Ranch, and I will be doing the MC work for the Nevadans Can sponsored event, which is an education forum. There'll be I believe we'll have 6 either sitting or candidates who are running for office who will be talking about education, educational reform, school choice, that kind of stuff. So I'm very excited about it. This will be my 3rd event that I will have been the MC on. Very excited about being a part of that. I still have grandkids who are in school, so it is very important to me that we continue to fight for their educational move. There was actually excuse me. Actually, a report that talked about what the effects of COVID has had on learning in the United States. Now, this was interesting. I was just listening to this on the way back from dropping off the lovely Mrs. Ray this morning. They say a 1% drop in educational scores is significant. So this is from the educational department. They're saying, hey, look, if we see a drop in scores by 1%, we get a little worried because that's a significant drop. In the United States, 8%. Okay, 8%. An 8% drop as a result of COVID, as a result of the school shutdowns, and a result of distance learning. And right now, there are still schools that they're still saying, keep your masks on, kids, distance learning, even though they scientifically know, that kids are the least vulnerable and the least likely to spread COVID among our population. They're the least likely to get it. They're the least likely to spread it because they don't get it. And they're the most likely to survive it because they're so young. And yet, we still have the teachers' unions that are going, no, we don't want to be around these kids. Oh, no. And it's the detriment of these kids. And it's the detriment of society because guess what? That's our future. Okay, we're already lagging behind the rest of the world as it is because we brought down testing scores. We're just not being stringent enough. We're not doing the things that we should be doing. Here in the state of Nevada, we are still number 50 out of, Clark County School District. Oh, we're just terrible. Just terrible. Okay. I'm a cheerleader for Las Vegas, folks. So I'm pushing for better education for our kids, whether that be private school, whether that be a charter school, whether that be a public school, whatever we got to do it. I'm not here to, I love school teachers. I was a school teacher at one time for the Clark County School District. So I have a love for the teachers, but I love my kids a lot more. So that's really what it's all about. Okay. I got a couple more minutes. So let's talk about restaurants just a little bit. This place called Big Jerk. It's a Caribbean cuisine place, and they're expanding. They're getting a second location. Actually, I thought they already had 2 locations. This must be a third one because I'm pretty sure they had 2 locations already. So anyways, they're opening up yeah. See, I thought so. Yeah, because Big Jerk has already had 2 locations. It must be a third location they don't know about. But the report here is that they're opening up another location. If you like Jamaican food, man, because I do, because I am Jamaican, you Big Jerk's a very good place. There's no doubt about it. There are 3 Jamaican places in Las Vegas that I would recommend. One is called Taste the Island of like tasting of the island. The other one's Big Jerk, and the other one's called Paradise Place. And Paradise Place is on Sahara, up the hill, just a little bit past Rainbow, so it's just up the hill. But and Tasty Island is down on Flamingo, and now it looks like Big Jerk is going to open up another location. The one that I know of for sure is on Sahara, and it's over in that old area where Port Tack used to be at, that kind of thing. Right over near, it's between Valley View. It's hard to explain because it's between Valley View and Rancho. Okay, it's in between there on the north side of the road. Very cool place. Good food. Love it. So they're expanding a little bit, and we're very excited about that. More, and gosh, so we already spoke about the Vegas Golden Knights. They lost. Josh Jacobs, we already talked about him. Let's talk. Okay, I think. Am I done? Okay, I'm done. Okay, if I do any more, I can't get started on something because it just takes too long to explain some of this stuff. That's bad. No, I'm sorry. I every once in a while I'll look out the corner of my eye and I'll see a video that comes on, and you kind of go, "Oh my gosh, that's just terrible." So we'll just take that and turn that off. Okay, good. So we'll be back again, folks, on Wednesday. If you would like our voter guide, okay, and I want to be very clear about this, we have very strong opinions about who we feel should be leading Las Vegas. And it looks like right now, folks, that we're going to have a change of regime change. It looks like right now in the governor's race that Joe Lombardo is actually leading Steve Sisolak. It looks like in our Senate race, and this is for the go to Washington D.C. It looks like Adam Laxalt is actually beating Catherine Cortez Masto. It does, and it also looks like in the congressional race that Susie Lee is getting beat by what's her name now? Becker. I forgot her name now. Why do I forget her name? Should remember her name. But it looks like she's losing too. So it looks like we're going to see a regime change. We've got a lot of assembly races that are up for race, and a couple of state senate races. So we've got some things that are changing here in the Las Vegas Valley. It should be very exciting. And as a result of we've got higher gases, we've got terrible school system, and people are getting very, very interested in these races, which it's good. It's good for everybody that we actually have people who are looking out for what's going on in Las Vegas. Anyways, folks, this has been Sherman Ray for the Livin in Vegas podcast. I want to thank you once again for coming alongside of us Monday, Wednesday, and Friday. We talk about the people, places, the trends, and the events shape the city of Las Vegas. When you think of living in Vegas, folks, think living local, the return of cool. Okay, so we'll see you again Wednesday for the Livin in Vegas podcast.